As Stephen mentioned, OpenField is a company, 3-year-old company based in Paris, France, and we are 6 weeks into launching the U.S. operations here, and I'm heading up that initiative. It's been a great 6 weeks, and so excited to hear your questions. This up here is OpenField. OpenField is a data management platform, cloud-based data management platform that connects all the siloed data sources that are connected to your venue and to your business and merges them in a data factory, allowing you to control the data flow and the analysis and the consumption of all that data, both for your fans, for your business users, for your analytics team. So it really is all about data flow for us. And that's really where the sort of the unique value proposition comes in. Is if you think about data, if we sort of rewind 20 years, if there's anybody here who's surfing the internet on Navigator 2.0 or something like that with a 28.8 modem, you think and you fast forward and you think of all the value that's been created since that point in time back in the mid-90s, and almost all of it has to do with data flow. And when we talk about processor speed, we talk about bandwidth, but ultimately its data is moving faster now, which allows you to add value. So from the perspective of fan engagement, we think that that's an enormous opportunity, being able to move data from where it's coming in to where it needs to go so that you can engage your fans in a conversation and not a communication. So we draw a distinction between communication and conversation. For us, a conversation is a two-way street. It's a process where the customer is giving you information, you're responding, the customer is responding back, and you're learning the whole way through. And so what OpenField enables you to do is to take that data that's coming in, whether it's coming in from ticketing, from access control, from the Wi-Fi system, from merchandise, food and beverage, whatever systems you can connect to, and it allows you to merge it into some unique customer spaces and resources repositories. So you can imagine getting a full and constant update to what your customers are doing. And then being able to allow your other systems to consume that, whether it's machine learning, BI, CRM, and engaging your customers in a more real-time fashion. Because I think we all feel like we don't want any lag in anything. We don't want our Amazon video or our Netflix video to buffer. When we send a text or an email to somebody, we want a response back right away. And you can imagine that the in-venue experience is going to continue to sort of ramp up, where expectations are going to be that you should be treating me personally in a more personal way. As I said, you can see up here some of the customers that OpenField has right now, from sports, events, venues. It's a company that's been around for three plus years right now. So this is a live system. You can call it intelligent venue, smart venue, but really it's much more broad than that. It really is about optimizing the data flow. The faster the data can flow, the more efficiently, the more effectively you can engage with your customers. So it really all starts with the data sources. What data sources did you have that are generating data in some way about your customers, about the spaces in your venue, about the resources, the kiosks that you have, the point-of-sale systems that you have, and then merging all of that information into a unique set of repositories so you know what your customers are purchasing. One of the interesting aspects here is what you can do with machine learning and predictive analytics with this. This is the opportunity to personalize based on the customer. And I can sort of define a few specific use cases for you. First of all, what if you could predict the likelihood that a specific customer is going to buy a ticket to next week's event versus the week after, versus the week after? How would that change how you engage with your customers? Are you going to send them an email this week or a text this week? Or perhaps you'll save that for next week. That's a particular scenario that we work closely with our partners Microsoft on developing an algorithm that can help with the predictive analysis on a customer level basis. So the data's all flowing in, and on a weekly basis, an algorithm runs that scores every customer in the database. That scoring is pushed out to the CRM system so that the CRM manager can then select which customers are going to get an email or a message for this week versus next week versus the week after. So you're not sending the same message to everybody every week. You're intelligently segmenting your base to be able to customize that message and hopefully create a situation where the messaging is actually anticipated. So you know when you get a message from your favorite team that it's actually customized to you. You don't have to just quickly breeze through it because you're not getting one every single week. You're getting one that's tailored to you, perhaps with the right price, the right match, the right seating location. So that was also part of this opportunity, is to be able to customize what product are you selling to what customer at what price. Another problem that we use machine learning for is no-shows. So people who already have tickets, what if you could predict the likelihood that a particular customer might not show up even though they do have a ticket? What could you do with that engagement? A third area is the opportunity to personalize the pricing in venue. I mean, if you know when people like to purchase food and beverage and merchandise, you know that they've got a ticket to a game, and you know they're a long-time season ticket holder. You've got a Wi-Fi system in the venue, and you're able to track where people are in the venue. All capabilities of OpenField right now. What could you do in terms of personalizing the pricing when they go up to make a purchase, a food and beverage purchase? Could there be a season ticket, a long-time season ticket discount? Could that person actually walk up and the system know where they're standing because they're logged into the Wi-Fi? They know who they are because you've got all their historical information. And now you can personalize the price for what they're about to purchase. So the ability to manage the data, move the data, analyze the data, and then engage with the customer is really what OpenField is focused on. So it's probably the least sexy part of fan engagement, but it is all about data flow. We focus on data flow and using data flow as an opportunity to add value to the customer engagement. Happy to answer some questions.
So are you actually collecting the data on behalf of your partners, or are you using data that they've already collected and analyzing that on their behalf?
We're connecting to the data, so we are connecting to their existing systems. So OpenField is built on a Microsoft stack of technologies, but it doesn't really have to. We can engage with Salesforce or Dynamics. We can engage with any number of ticketing systems. It's really what systems allow us to actually engage with them, pulling that data in, and then helping them build the algorithms or design the campaigns or understand what they can do with the data in real time, once a week, whatever frequency they want. And that's another aspect of OpenField, is the ability to monitor and manage the data flow. So some data flow you want flowing in real time or near real time. Others you don't need, you don't need that kind of speed on the data side. So it can be a once a week, once a day, once an hour kind of flow. And so that it's really what does the customer come with, and then connecting to that, and then managing. So OpenField is really focused on the data factory itself, and then allowing the other systems to consume that data.
Do you have any case studies or examples of how these teams have used real-time information right back to them during the game or in venue?
Yeah, sure. I think one of the simple ways to think about it is as soon as someone passes through access control. So you preset a campaign in the CRM based on the segment that you're talking about. So perhaps you've got very simply season ticket buyers, and you've got single game buyers. Or perhaps you have different segments of each of those. And when that person who falls into a certain segment passes through access control, the ticket is scanned, that information is passed through the system, and it triggers a CRM campaign which sends out an SMS or an email to that individual, telling them something, offering them something, sending whatever the desired message is. The second way from there is to think about where they are in the venue. So if they are near a food and beverage or a merchandise area, being able to use the Wi-Fi to trigger a message that goes out to that individual. So it's really about it's really about communicating with individuals where they are in context. So contextual marketing, real-time marketing, in-venue marketing, based on the profile of the individual and what they're doing in the venue.
Right. And what type of the telematics do you guys use? Is it beacon, mesh? I mean, how exactly are you connecting with all the users?
Yeah, it can go for a range. So it can even start with actually out any kind of wireless information as well. So you can simply use access control as a simple trigger. So if we're in a particular venue that had no Wi-Fi available as a starting point, the access control can be a starting point, because that access control system is one of the resources that is logged in the data factory. So we know when a particular device is scanning a ticket, where that scan is happening in the venue, location-wise. So we know they entered in through a certain gate. So it could, if you don't have direct access to the food and beverage system, you could potentially use scanning of the ticket barcode. So we know that that person visited that particular food and beverage stand, and we know where that food and beverage stand is located because that's already built as a resource in the system. From there you go Wi-Fi, whatever the capabilities are of the venue in terms of Wi-Fi or beacons. I think right now in the European case studies there's quite a range. They're actually going through quite an upgrade where they're going from nothing to everything, and so I think the use cases are developing there. But we've actually worked within that entire range from stadiums that have almost nothing, and we're really using the resources that are there. The food and beverage scan of the ticket barcode, the access control scan, the different activities that people actually do in the venue can be triggers and can give you information about where they are in the venue as well, so you can track that information. And all of that is being stored, including if there is Wi-Fi and the customers are logged into the Wi-Fi, or even if they're actually not, being able to track how people move through the venue, where do individuals go in the venue. One of the more advanced use cases right now is actually on the retail side. So OpenField is in at least, I think, 2 malls right now in Paris, and probably about another 10 or 15 coming in the next couple of years, where we're able to actually track the path that people take in malls. Where do they go? How much time do they spend? Do people come in and leave a mall? Do they come in and walk around? Which gives you an indication of what they're doing in the mall. So you can imagine that use case in a stadium to help understand what particular parts of the food and beverage operation might have higher traffic at the beginning of the event versus later in the event. How might that affect your staffing levels? So being able to understand what is actually going on in the event using Wi-Fi or other slightly lower tech tracking is definitely core functional.
And you can integrate if someone has a bunch of different vendors across these different, you can integrate and complement what they're doing in time altogether.
Exactly. So the idea is actually not to combine these systems here at this point, but to combine them in here. So there's individual data connections built to each one of the systems. So if you decide that, you know what, you're reviewing a new ticketing system, a new mobile app, a new food and beverage system, you can be certain that the data is actually already in here. So if you unplug and stop using that system, that data is already in your repository. You're not losing anything. It's just a matter of reconnecting and resetting the rules and the parameters with that new system.
Got it. Very cool.
Can you share who you're launching with in the US?
We're 6 weeks in, so I won't share who we've actually. We have talked to the NBA at a league level. We've talked to the NFL at a league level. We've talked to a handful of teams as well. I think more than anything, I think our first question was, we know how this functions in Europe. It's been very well received, really very strong growth there. But it's a different infrastructure market there. It's a different set of use cases. So one of the questions we have for everybody is, what are you doing right now? And I think the biggest difference that we're seeing right now is that from the CRM and the BI side, most teams have a pretty good handle on that part. They've got their infrastructure in place. They like the systems they're using. There isn't a gap there. But where we're really focused on is the core function, the core value of OpenField is the data flow. And so we're really focusing our attention much more here than on the integration of the BI and the CRM tools. This whole package is really what has been implemented on the European side, and I have a feeling that we'll really be sort of focusing more on this part of the application here in the US. Okay. Thank you.
Good, thank you.